Here's a lie that both political parties eventually start believing. If an institution is important enough, accountability can always wait. I don't think that's how anyone intends it to go. It probably starts with people trying to do the right thing. Protect morale. Protect the mission. Give the investigators another week. Don't put out information that could get somebody hurt. Don't hand the media half a story. One decision like that, it's pretty easy to defend. It's the 100th one that gets harder to explain. I kept thinking about that when I was reading the Bragg Cartel by Seth Harp. I started the book thinking about the murders. Somewhere about halfway through, I realized that I stopped thinking about the crimes. I was paying attention to the meetings, internal investigations, the moments where people decided quietly that this was not the right time to pull another thread. Who benefits when everybody decides that it's never the right time to ask a question? Obviously, the murders mattered. The drugs mattered too. I don't mean to minimize any of that. It's just that those weren't the pages that I kept replaying after this finished. I kept trying to figure out why this book stayed with me. And eventually I landed on something that may only make sense to me. Secrecy started to feel less like a policy and more like a dependency. In situations like this, secrecy isn't always inherently wrong. Some things in government probably need to stay secret, at least for a while. But there's a point where secrecy like this stops protecting people and starts protecting the secrecy itself. First, you're keeping one thing quiet because it feels justified. Then you're managing the consequences of keeping that first thing quiet. After a while, you're spending more energy maintaining that secrecy than it would have taken just to deal with the problem in the first place. Maybe that's why I also kept thinking about addiction, not because Harp asked me to, because the logic felt familiar. Once today's pain starts working, it's hard for you to convince yourself to deal with tomorrow's consequence instead. I started thinking about churches, police departments, universities, corporations, government agencies. Any institution that's convinced itself that it's too important to lose the public's trust. The people change, the politics change, the slogans change. The instinct doesn't seem to. I've read books with bigger scandals than this. I've read books with more shocking crimes. What stayed with me though is how ordinary self-preservation can look while it's happening. It does not pronounce itself as corruption. Sometimes it even sounds responsible, patient, measured, reasonable. And maybe that's what should unsettle us all most. Not that institutions can lie. We definitely already know that. It's how easy people with good intentions can end up protecting the reputation of a place they love until they can no longer tell the difference between serving the institution and serving the people it's supposed to exist for. I might have finished it thinking about Bragg, but definitely not thinking about Bragg anymore.